back. Well, today we're looking at the new cigar from Punch in honor of the Chinese New Year, 3rd edition. This is the Kung Pao. And it is a 6x52 Toro. And you don't hear much about this cigar, but look at this. It's a 1/2 inch unfinished foot. And I mean unfinished. It just sticks out there like it's unfinished. Now, this is a 6x52 Toro, as I said, and highlighted by a multinational blend, Connecticut Broadleaf wrapper, Honduran Habano binder, and long filler from Brazil, Honduras, and the DR. 20 count bundles. And if you've probably seen these already, but it comes in like a takeout container of Chinese food. Last year I did the Chop Suey, and it did pretty good. So let's just roll it around and see what the Kung Pao is going to do this year. The new Punch Kung Pao. Well, the cigar has a nice oily wrapper. You have to agree. Look at it in the lights. And I can tell you I've had about 5 of these already. And that unfinished foot is going to do just what you would expect it to do when I light it. Make a mess. So let's, I can show you the density, and here it is, but it's kind of all over the place. It's literally a bunch of formed tobacco that doesn't have a wrapper on it or a binder. All right, let's give it a clip here, see if we can get a draw. I bet we can. Yes. Very good draw. Now, these are around priced at like $6, $7 a piece. So it's not bad. First flavors, and it's right before you get to the, so we're going to have 2 first flavors. One to burning off this 1/2 inch of unfinished foot. All right, you've got a lot of earthiness, leather, brown sugar, cedar, parts of that because there's quite a bit of earthiness, black coffee. And then as you get to the wrapper, I'm getting caramel notes. And the earthiness is toned down somewhat, so not nearly as earthy as it was at the first. So in this case, the wrapper seems to help it. Yep. Little cedar. Now, cedar, caramel, brown sugar, leather, nutmeg, and black coffee. Those are your flavors once you get past the first 1/2 inch, which is what the majority of the cigar is going to be anyway. So let's just see what happens. Had several of these and pretty much have a pretty good grasp on them, but let's just see what this sample does out of the first third. There is going to be a method to my madness, but I'm at the first quarter. I'm doing that for a reason, because if this follows like the others, it's going to be important that I do it that way. Now here you've got the same flavors we had before. Actually, the sweetness right as it hit the wrapper from the unfinished foot, it really blossomed. It took off. It got very sweet with the caramel and the brown sugar type notes. Now, one thing I noticed, it was just cool looking. I mean, if you like cigars and how they act and how they burn, check out this picture of how the cigar differentiated itself. The unfinished foot, where you can see clearly where it met the cigar with the wrapper and the binder, and you can just it's just easy to tell. And I thought it was a cool picture. It means nothing, but I thought it was cool. The leather was there, but it's a little manageable. And the black coffee base, there's black pepper at about 7 to 7.5. But at this point, I would rate the cigar 93 based on its total flavors and the way it's acting. So if this follows suit with the other 4 or so that I've had, it's important that I note that at this point. So let's see what we have at the midpoint. Here we are at the first, or midpoint, I should say, midpoint. And things are starting to happen. The earthiness is starting to rise greatly. It is to the point where the initial really nice sweet flavors are just being covered by layers of earthiness. And I would call the cigar medium bodied, reaching toward medium to full. We'll call it medium bodied. The finish is a little earthy with just a hint of caramel and nice lingering black pepper. But the earthiness is really muffling the flavors, and they're there, but they're just muffled. That's my word now, whenever things are just like muddied up. But for the midpoint, I would rate the score 90. It's not going in the right direction, but there's a reason I'm doing this in quarters. So first quarter, 93. Midpoint 90. Well, we're at the 3/4 point. And the leather and earthiness is way up there, let's just say. The caramel notes are no longer to be found. There are hints of cedar. Brown sugar is pretty much at a minimum. Medium to full bodied. Finishes a lot of earthiness, some leather, and hints of brown sugar, or very little sweetness, I should say. The lingering black pepper is very good. That is one positive. But the cigar is going and it's acting just like the other samples. At this point, I would rate it 86 because there's just hardly any type of sweetness there. Now, unless you just like total earth, and black coffee. Let's throw black coffee in the mix too, okay? So you got leather, black coffee, earthiness, hints of other sweeter notes, hints. But it's the pepper is good, but that's at this point, that's about all I can say that's really good about it. We got 1/4 left, and you sort of probably by now are smart enough to figure where we're going, but you're invested in the video by now. You might as well play it out, right? So let's see what the final quarter brings. Down to the end with the aid of a little toothpick, so let's wrap it up. wanted to give it every chance I could. Whew. But not much changed here in the final quarter. Stayed about the same. So it leveled out. Uh, the sweeter notes did come back just a little bit. Not quite as earthy. Full body. It really got close to full body. It's a low grade full body. The finish has a little more cedar on it. A little touch of brown sugar. But a cigar really just started out one way and went downhill. Actually, for the final quarter, I would bump it to 87 because some of the sweetness came back, but not a lot. The cigar just, you know, sometimes I pull for cigars. I really do. I really want them to do well. And I had high hopes for this one, but just wasn't, you know, really as good as I wanted it to be. So if you average it out, all 4 quarters, your final score is 89. And that's probably where it should fall because it started out pretty good. Midpoint was decent. The second half was not as good. And 89 is below my line to seek these out and buy more. So that I'll leave it there because it started out pretty good. But that'll do it. And you let me know your experience with them yourself. And I would suggest you go as slow as you can with this cigar, simply because if you don't, your score would be much lower. The only reason it's 89 overall is because I go very slow trying to get the best flavors. So take what I've given you and run with it. So there you have it. The Punch Kung Pow 89.